New York, 1955. Marilyn Monroe steps into the subway at Grand Central Terminal. Middle of the day, packed platform, hundreds of people. Nobody recognizes her. She's just standing there, a woman in plain clothes. And not a single person looks twice. She boards the train, rides along, gets off, invisible. Then, on the sidewalk, she turns to her photographer and asks, "Do you want to see her?" She fluffed up her hair, changed her posture. That's it. Within seconds, the crowd froze. People stared. Fans swarmed. It took her photographer several minutes to get her out of there. She didn't change how she looked. She changed how she felt. And that is feminine charisma. Here's what's wild. Scientists have actually figured out what she switched on. And what they found might surprise you, because it turns out women have a biological advantage when it comes to charisma. A real, measurable one. But most of us were never taught how to use it. Worse, we've been trained to suppress it. 3 signals, 1 trap, and a superpower you already have. When you walk into a room, a meeting, a party, a first date, people are already deciding something about you before you've said a single word. And it's not about your outfit. It's not about your hair. It's about 2 things: warmth and competence. Princeton psychologist Susan Fiske spent years studying how we form first impressions, and she found that these 2 dimensions, warmth and competence, account for roughly 82% of how people judge you. Everything else, your looks, your status, your credentials, is noise compared to those 2 signals. And here's the part that matters. Warmth is always evaluated first, always. Before anyone cares how smart you are, their brain is asking one question: is this person safe? Is she on my side? Now think about what that means for us. Because women are significantly better at warmth signaling than men. This isn't a stereotype, it's neuroscience. Research by Hall and others has consistently shown that women are more accurate at reading facial expressions, more skilled at decoding nonverbal emotional cues, and score higher on emotional intelligence. Girls as young as 3.5 match the accuracy of 5-year-old boys in reading faces. Warmth is the signal the brain evaluates first, and you are biologically better at sending it. Vanessa Van Edwards turned this into a formula. Charisma equals warmth plus competence. Olivia Fox-Cabane added a 3rd ingredient: presence. That feeling when someone is fully, completely with you. Not checking her phone and not scanning the room, just there. This is your home court. The science says so. But having an advantage and knowing how to use it are 2 very different things. Sorry for the interruption, but if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing to my channel. I'd like to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of July. So click that subscribe button. It's free and helps me out a lot. Now let's get back to the video. In the 1980s, psychologist Howard Friedman designed a strange experiment. He put a highly charismatic person in a room with 2 strangers. No talking, no eye contact instructions. Just 3 people sitting together for 2 minutes. When the 2 minutes were up, the strangers' moods had shifted to match the charismatic person's mood. Every single time. Not once did it work the other way around. No words, no gestures, just pure emotional contagion. Your brain picks up someone else's internal state through micro-expressions. Breathing rhythm, posture. Signals so subtle you don't even notice them. Your mirror neurons fire, and suddenly their feeling becomes your feeling. Here's where it gets interesting for us. A 1995 study by Doherty found that women are significantly more susceptible to emotional contagion than men, for love, happiness, and sadness. Women don't just catch emotions more easily, they send them more powerfully too. Research shows women display more facial expressiveness, more emotional range, and process nonverbal cues faster than men. You're not just a receiver, you're a transmitter, a strong one. This is what made Marilyn Monroe electric. At MIT, neuroscientist Alex Pentland built a wearable device that tracked charismatic signals, tone of voice, gestures, mirroring, without recording a single word. It predicted the outcome of business pitches and speed dates with 70 to 80% accuracy. The finding? Charisma lives in how you communicate, not what you say. And the signals that matter most, emotional expressiveness, mirroring, warmth cues, are the exact signals women are wired to be strongest in. So why doesn't it always work for us? Because the system wasn't built for your kind of charisma. You felt this? Maybe you couldn't name it, but you felt it. You speak up in a meeting with confidence, and someone calls you aggressive. You lead with warmth and kindness, and they say you lack executive presence. You're either too much or not enough, never just right. This isn't in your head, it has a name. Researchers call it the double bind. Here's how it works. Remember warmth and competence? For men, they're a package deal. A man who displays competence gets a warmth bonus for free. He walks in confident, and the room assumes he's also trustworthy. For women, it's a seesaw. Research from Harvard Business Review found that women who present themselves as highly competent are perceived as cold, and women who lead with warmth are perceived as lacking authority. Women in leadership are 30% more likely than men to be judged negatively when they make mistakes, 30% for the exact same mistake. So your superpower, that natural ability to send warmth, to read a room, to make people feel something, gets punished the moment you pair it with ambition. Think about this in pop culture. Miranda Priestly in The Devil Wears Prada. Brilliant, powerful, terrifying. Respected? Absolutely. Liked? Never. Now think about Elle Woods in Legally Blonde. Warm, bubbly, underestimated by everyone, until the courtroom scene where she destroys the case. Two extremes. And notice, Elle didn't win by suppressing her warmth. She won by adding competence on top of it without dimming the warmth. That's the key. Researchers at the University of Michigan found that women leaders who crack the code use hybrid tactics, asking questions that subtly assert expertise, connecting personally while redirecting strategically. They don't choose between warmth and power. They encode both into the same moment. And here's the good news. That skill, it's been studied, it's been measured, and it can be trained. In 2011, Professor John Antonakis at the University of Lausanne took a group of MBA students and mid-level managers, none of them trained speakers, and asked them to deliver a speech. The audience rated them on trust, likability, and charisma. Then he taught them 12 specific communication tactics. Not a personality makeover, not years of coaching, 12 concrete moves. They gave the speech again. Their charisma ratings jumped by up to 60%, not 60. 9 of the tactics are verbal. Metaphors, stories, contrasts, rhetorical questions, expressing conviction, reflecting the group's feelings, 3-part lists, setting big goals, and showing confidence they're reachable. 3 are nonverbal, animated voice, facial expressions, and deliberate gestures. Now here's why this matters more for you than for any man reading the same study. Remember the double bind? These tactics are how you dissolve it. A metaphor wraps your competence in warmth. People feel your intelligence instead of being threatened by it. A story makes your authority feel approachable. A rhetorical question lets you lead the room without anyone feeling pushed. You're not choosing between warmth and power. You're fusing them in a single sentence. And remember emotional contagion? Your internal state is literally more contagious than a man's. Doherty's research proved it. So when you walk into a room calm, certain, and grounded, the room feels that more strongly coming from you. That's your edge. Not despite being a woman, because of it. Olivia Fox. Cobain calls this the real foundation of charisma, not the performance, but the state underneath it. Your body language doesn't lie. People read micro-expressions in a tenth of a second, and your body broadcasts those signals louder. So the deepest skill isn't learning what to do with your hands. It's learning how to feel before you walk in. Visualization, breath, posture. That's where the switch lives. So, let's go back to that sidewalk. New York, 1955. Marilyn didn't do what most people think charismatic men do. She didn't dominate the space. She didn't raise her voice or puff up her chest. She changed how she felt inside, and her body broadcasted outward. Stronger than any man in that crowd could have. That's feminine charisma, not performing confidence. Radiating a state. She was born Norma Jean, dyslexia, a stutter, a childhood nobody would choose. The magnetism wasn't a gift. It was a craft. 3 signals, 1 trap, 12 tactics, and a transmission system that's already stronger in you than you realize. Now you know the science. Next video, I'll show you how to train the switch. I'll see you there.